Hello everybody. So today I am going to go ahead and I'm going to run all the rest of the fuel lines on this S10 and see if we can get it hooked up, and then hopefully we can have it running next day or so. I'm hoping. So stay tuned for that and I'll show you guys what I got going on. Alright, so what we got going on here, as you guys all seen before, we got this pump here mounted up. I got it all plumbed in from the tank right there. Comes into the pump. I got this hose ran down through the frame already. That's for the pressure side of things. So I've still got to get underneath the truck and run one more hose for return. I got this much hose. If you buy the Phytech set with the pump and the TBI unit and all that stuff for the injection, so it's all self-contained, it pretty much comes with every last piece you'll need to set this up. Like for instance, it comes with this filter here. That's a 10 micron, so that one catches all the debris first. And then if we come back up here, see if I can get up here. I got kind of a mess going on, but see, so I've got another, I got a disaster because I got all the wiring still, but see, I got another one here that's going to go up here and zip tie up right here. It'll zip tie into that plastic cover there. It goes into the, of course, into the fuel injection there. So that other hose I've got to run, it actually comes up and across, and there's another fitting right here for the return line. So get that hooked up. Alright, so I just barely ran my return line here. Fuel pump's already plumbed in to there. I've got these, I'm going to try to get this zip tied down in here somewhere out of the way. But I've got it zip tied here, I got it zip tied here and here so far. Just anywhere I can get it where it lays up against some flat steel instead of against a rough edge or something. I'm totally for that. So I'll climb underneath this truck and I'll start zip tying the lines up to inside the frame where they go. And then once I get done there, we'll move to the front of the truck and we'll get some of this other stuff knocked out of the way. Oh, and this Phytech kit, I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but it came with this engine. The Phytech fuel injection that we've got going on here in this truck, it's pretty cool. I mean, it comes with everything. It comes with the hose that I'm putting in right now. It's a 40-foot spool of hose that's all high pressure hose, so you can do your return line like this one. Fuel line here into your pump. The pump comes with the kit. The filters come with the kit. This kit basically comes with everything that you could possibly need to install it. So stay tuned. I'm going to get underneath. I'm not going to probably bore you guys with that. I'm just going to get the hoses and zip tie them where they need to go. But then we'll go up to the front and hook up the hoses and get them all organized. And then we'll continue on with the wiring of this fuel injection system. And once we get it wired in, then it's going to be time to prime that pump and probably fire this thing up, make sure it's going to run good and stuff. So stay tuned and we'll work towards that. We'll probably break this up into a couple videos because I don't want my videos to be overly long and boring. So we'll try to get the fuel lines and everything installed today on this video. And then I might climb underneath and work on my shift linkage underneath. So I'll take you guys along for that because that won't be as boring as just zip tying and clipping zip ties. So alright, so I'm going to climb under this truck real quick here and show you guys what I'm dealing with under here. Alright, so let's see here. So I got a little much there, so push that back here upside there. This needs to just come out of here, really. I'm not using none of that crap anymore. We'll just get it down out of the way for now. This piece is ended up going too, but I need it out of my way so I can at least work on these stupid other lines. Make sure your hoses are all nice and stuck together good right there. And then cinch up that zip tie. Let me see here. I'll get some tools and get right back with you guys. And we're going to go ahead and hook up the shift cable on this thing. Because right now it's got the wrong one. The one for the old column shifter. This right here. This one is the new one. I put in a stock floor shifter out of an S10 Blazer. So we've got the bracket there and the cable, so I'll get a different angle here and we'll just go ahead and hook that up and be done with this thing. There, got her out. Let's see if I can get the bolt out of it now. Possibly, maybe not. That's stupid. I have to undo that whole thing to get the bolt. Oh good, this one's even got the bolt still in her, so let's use that. Want that snug, but not too overly tight. So I have to take it back off anyway, but oh, don't go big enough for that, but if I can just get this to separate here, this will be perfect. There we go. There we go. Got her on there. Now I'm going to go inside here, check that out, and see what that does for us. So. Hard, reverse, two guys, second, low. Works fine. Alright, so I just got under there. We hooked that linkage up, so it works now. I got to build a little tab that goes to another bolt around the corner there on the back of the pan, further back, but it'll work. It goes into all the gears at least, and that's a plus. So I'm just trying to make sure I don't have nothing rubbing anywhere as I go. We'll start at this end and work my way back, I guess. That'll lay out of the way enough up here. I'll get her tucked up in down here at the bottom, so it's all away from the exhaust, and we'll be good to go. Gotta get all that wire, that hose ran, then I need to get back on the wire and get the wiring all done on this. Alright, so just so I can show you guys what I've got going on here. I got this piece here. This one, I got a piece of loom on it so I can lay it down in here nicely. But I got it to the right length where I can trim off the excess green wire off the end here. This yellow wire, I'm going to take it and I'm going to lay it out over probably right here. And I'm going to zip tie it up right there by the distributor. Right over in here, since that's where it's going to end up going anyway. Once I'm done, I'm going to hook it up probably last. White wire here is going to run all the way back to the fuel tank. That goes to my fuel gauge, so I can get the fuel gauge all wired in with that, get it laid out. And what else was there? Let's see. Oh, and the red one, I've got to put a loop connector on the end of it. This kind of connector, so that it can go onto that sensor for the oil that's down in there. You can't really see it. If I can get some more light. But anyway, I'll get it wired in, and then I'll show you guys, and we'll just keep on going until we're done. I'll start cutting out some more wiring soon too that we don't need. I got to keep a couple things, but for the most part, it's all just junk. So stay tuned and keep watching. Alright, so I got my harness kind of tidied up over on that side. This will drop back down behind. This has a new end on it. You can see it there. It's just shrink tubed here with an eye on the end of it, so I can stick it over the sensor, because that sensor has an eye for a ground and an eye for from the gauge out to it, from the power from the gauge to it. So a ground and the power from the gauge is all it gets. So I'll hook those up. I've got this piece, still got my tape hooked to it, but I got this piece with some loom on it. I'm just trying to tape up the edges and ends so it doesn't pop out. Then I'll get it all warmed up and lay it where it needs to be so it'll stay there. Then I'll have to make a trip to O'Reilly's and see if I can get a few more things. So stay tuned for that, and I might have another project I have to go out on today, so if I do, I'll take you guys along. Alright, so I've got that wiring tucked away except for the white one. The rest of it's loomed out right there and laying where it needs to go. But I've got to get, this is a stock S10 sending unit for the coolant sensor. As you can see right here, where I need to put it in, it doesn't fit. So I'm gonna have to go get a little adapter for that to adapt from that thread to this thread here. So we'll do that. And then I've also, see, here's my oil sender. That's where the ground goes, and that's where the power goes. It comes out of the gauge. And this right here, I've got to get an adapter to make this about a 1/2 inch longer, so it'll sit a little higher, because right now it runs into the manifold. If I try to tighten it down, it gets about 4 threads in, about that much. That ain't enough, so we'll have to go to the parts store and get a couple things for this. But as you can see here, here's that my temp sensor wire here. Let me expand this out a little bit here. If I can here, let's see. Pain in the butt thing. I got a new camera, so we're just trying to make that work as best as we can here. Let's see. Alright, so you can see it here. I've got it loomed up all the way from the firewall. I've got a rubber plug back there that goes into the firewall, but it's too hard to move the wires through it when it's installed. See, you can see it back there. There's the hole that it goes to. There's the rubber grommet there. Right back here. Can't really see it real well, but there's the grommet. I've got to get a little bit more of that wire loom cover, but the yellow wire runs over there and just tied off. My red wire, it comes out over there too and is where it needs to be, and it's all tied in there, but I got to get some loom to put over those two pieces just so it looks cleaner. When I go to the store, I'll probably get all that stuff, and I've got to also get, because these used to just plug in the water pump for the old Vortec motor. They actually had a little piece of hose on here so you could clock it here, and then it went down to the pump here, but there's a little, like a nipple that sticks out of the pump that you used to be able to stick the other piece of this hose here onto. And this one I'm gonna have to get a little nipple to, we'll stick it down into the manifold right here into the water on that side. So we're gonna have to get a few things to adapt that from the parts store. But other than that, I think we've got about everything else. We'll just keep on going along, and we'll try to get I want to get that the MSD system that's over here, over there. I want to get it all that tied in, so it's all hooked up and working. And then I want to get this thing fired up, because it's been too long, so it's time. I'll probably put a little oil down the cylinders again, even though I've already primed the pump once. It's been a while ago, so I'm gonna have to pull the distributor out and use my pump priming tool and prime the pump, put a little spray of oil in the cylinders, make sure everything's lubricated good before we fire it, because this engine, it's been ran on the dyno. It makes 500 plus on the dyno to the crank, but it hasn't been started in like probably a couple years since I've had this truck sitting out here before I got sick. So I'll get it running and show you guys, and we'll do some burn-offs before I send it home. So keep on watching, and I'll keep making these videos.